Hi there. In this video we will troubleshoot an Audi A4 B8 from 2010 door speaker that is not producing any sound at all anymore. Before opening up all of this door to get to the speaker, I want to check for continuity in the radio unit in the trunk and see if at least we have an electrical connection anymore. Okay, this is the connector. I will link a video where I show how to unplug this particular connector. I have reverted the wiring that I changed in that video. It's reverted back to stock because I want to do some coding modification and that change is no longer required. But let's beep the speakers themselves. So, one speaker okay. Here we get nothing. Okay. And okay. So this one, which is basically front right, absolutely no sound whatsoever from our multimeter, so there's no continuity. Next step, I want to make sure that I have a connection here in the door connector, because I own the Skoda Octavia from 2010 and they had really big problems with these connectors not transmitting power to the speakers anymore from time to time. So we will be opening this thing up and checking there if everything is okay. So basically, to disconnect this we need a spudger, or how these tools are called. You can see that place right there where we kind of need to insert it and start lifting the top of this connector. It's not going to go easy, especially for me doing this with my left hand and trying to film at the same time, but it should be going in the end. Normally I should also try to lift from the other side. So yeah, I think at this point my fingers are actually doing a better job than the spudger, but it needs to be pulled more than this. So yeah, I don't think this was ever moved since the car was built. It's gonna be quite stuck in there. This side wants to go, but the other side is really stuck. It went a bit higher now. So you basically just pull on it. And it's released. You can see how much it needs to be lifted to release. And now let's look inside this connector if we see any trouble whatsoever. Doesn't seem to be any trouble. Okay, seeing that there's no sign of dirt or humidity or anything else in this area of the connector where the contacts are, especially the big ones, those are the ones for the speakers, I don't think the problem is here. So I will just move the connector a tiny bit and lock it back in place. Make sure it somehow re-establishes contact, just in case the contact wasn't good, but I don't think the problem is here. Wiggle it in place as much as you can, and in theory you should start pushing on the end of it. And it's locked back in place. And I'm back in here, and if I connect it, but I don't think it will make it now because it already did a few seconds ago, I get, just as before, an instant, I don't know, millisecond beep, and that I think that's created by the capacitor charging. So that somehow it's telling me the wires are okay, because the you heard the beep. The tweeter is getting the connection, so the base speaker has an issue. At this point I need to take off this whole panel out and check directly the connection of the speaker and measure directly the speaker to see if it happened something to it. I will link a video in the description where I show how to remove all of this. And we are inside the door. Stripped the wires just enough so I can do a continuity check on them, if I could actually manage to do it. Absolutely nothing. Nothing at all. So something's up with the speaker. I need to open it up and check it. Well, no need. Digged deeper and somehow the wires corroded themselves into non-existence. I have no clue why this happened. I did put some glue under the heat shrink, maybe that somehow reacted with the wires. I will never do that again, but I need to clean the wires, solder them again. Luckily, hopefully the speaker is still okay. These wires are disintegrating, I need to replace them. It's not my fault, these wires are just crap. Thanks, China. The speaker is out. And look at this. What the hell kind of wires are these? China, are you joking? Let me replace them with some proper wires. Wires replaced. Even thicker wires, stronger wires. I have never in my life seen wires turn into dust like this. I have no idea. Maybe aluminium covered in copper, a really thin layer, but even aluminium shouldn't corrode like this by itself. So yikes, yikes. Hopefully now we are good. Wires soldered, again insulate them, close everything back up, remember to maintain the proper polarity. And yes, if this happens to you, check connections, check wires, check speaker itself. So you should be able to find the culprit. Hopefully not something as stupid as cheap Chinese wires. Check continuity one last time because it's getting dark, honestly. And I want to make sure that I can start closing things. We have continuity, I can close the door. Yay! And it's closed and hopefully working, but for sure it's working. But you know that I will have the same problem on the driver's side sooner or later. But at least now I know exactly what to search for. Ah, those Chinese.